Hello, everybody. I went back and forth about this so many times, and I was going to stay on my old channel, then I was going to make a new channel, then I was going to stay, then I was going to leave. Then I listened to a clip with Gary Vaynerchuk in it, Gary V. And I remembered from years ago, I was like the biggest fangirl of him. And I was into marketing and I just love the guy. I've got books of his, several of them. And just like, I'm not sure when it happened, but he fell off my radar. And this was a recent clip where he was being interviewed, and I've never been led astray, ever. And he said, make a new channel. Okay. So I figured, why not? Here we are. So my name is Tara Woodruff. Um, I'm a 54-year-old woman. I've done YouTube since 2009, I believe. It's been a long time. Um, this is my I have two channels with my name, Tara Woodruff. One I don't even log into anymore, but it's still up. The other one I have been making these videos on there, but it's so congested, and no matter how much I try to justify staying on it for this channel for this purpose, it kind of gets confusing. It gets too congested. I also love to paint. This wasn't mine, but that one is. My walls are covered in paintings, and I have a channel called Tara's Traveling Paints. And I paint on that channel, and I'll ramble and talk and all that fun stuff. But I haven't painted in a minute. My current situation is a little difficult. Like, I have no drying space. That's the biggest problem. I have space to do it. I have nowhere to put the paintings to dry. It's a pretty small apartment, but it's wonderful. And so I wanted to kind of get into it a little bit more and give you a taste, if you're brand new to me, um, of the kind of I'm kind of long-winded. I create longer content. I am, like I said in my intro video, going to utilize some video editing and time stamping. I even have my book out right now so I can write things down, um, so that I can timestamp it for you. Some people are just not going to like it. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and talk. That is a wonderful sound. This is my Sunshine LaCroix. It's my favorite flavor. I do have some limoncello in the fridge, and I hated it when I first got it, but I had one today because these were warm. I actually kind of like it. So, uh, yeah, so what I figured I'd talk about today, a couple of little things, but I'm going to focus on sobriety. It's probably the biggest change in my life, that I did. That well, not I didn't do. I lie. That is not true. I didn't do it. I was a participant in it. Um, so my life really, I took a stand for my life. I think I calculated it 554 days ago. I escaped a very not good place. I was drinking a lot. I was in a dangerous relationship with a dangerous person, and I knew that I had very little choices. I had two. I was going to stay and probably die, or run and live and suffer and all the things that happened. And I escaped. I literally escaped. And I have been really blessed. I had soft land, even though it wasn't so soft. Since then, I've lost my mother, which is, I haven't even begun to deal with it. I honestly can't even wrap my head around it. I'm not going to cry right now, but it was bad, and it is bad, and I, I miss her so much. But I ended up back here in Vermont, and regardless of, I'm not going to say regardless, in spite of the first 6 months here was really, really tough. I was still speaking with the dangerous one, um, and there was a reason for that, and it was to help me from going back. Quite honestly, I had rationalized it. That the average person that leaves a dangerous relationship returns several times before they ever leave for good. I didn't want to go back. And I had heard that there was ways to not do that. And that was to actually maintain contact and just constantly be reminded of what a shithead, you know? So I did. And then that all fell apart just before my mother passed. And which is good because I needed to not anymore, you know? Like I was actually scared. So I don't even know how I was. I guess I was nervous that once we stopped talking that I'd be even more afraid. And I was for a while. My everything about my life changed. I ended up getting into the short-term rental business totally by like I don't even know how. Like my friend Kimba, she's the one. Her and her husband took me in. Told me that her friend had posted something on Facebook about needing a cleaner and they needed a head housekeeper. I'm like, and I had like really wanted to do like a rent a wife kind of business, a maid service, or like where I would show up, make sure the dishes were done, the laundry's in the wash, um, and maybe even food was put in the crock pot. Like I couldn't figure out how to get that done, but I really like that. I really like that. I really enjoy housekeeping. I really enjoy traditional wife stuff. So that came up, and I was like, yeah, let me. I was running a kitchen at a retirement home, and it was a good job, but I didn't really love it, and I didn't even come close to getting paid enough to even think of busting out on my own. And I knew that even though they were like super awesome and there for me, it was still supposed to be a temporary situation, and it went on longer than suspected or expected. I I escaped in December 21st, just before Christmas, in I believe 2024. It could have been 23. 23, I think, because then it turned to 24. I think. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. It's just been a while. And my goal was to be out of there by April, and I wasn't out of there till the April after. So it was like a, almost a year and a half I was at their house. And I knew I had to make some kind of moves as far as money because like that was going to get old, you know? They're a couple trying to live their life and they don't need me at their house. I definitely did everything I could to make it as awesome for them as possible. And when this came up, I was like, huh, okay. And I think I was making like $17 an hour. And the girl's like, oh, you'll be making 25. And I was like, sweet, sweet, sweet. And then before I even was hired, I got a raise. It's cute. It's cute now that I know what I know now. But basically, a short-term rental management company hosts about 6 to 8 places on the mountain of Jay Peak, and that's a ski resort. Um, the most amount of snow in the winter than any other ski resort in the state, maybe even more than that. Um, it's just what it is. And I started working, and I so fell in love with it in so many different ways. First of all, the cleaning was extraordinarily therapeutic for someone that was terrified and depressed and sad and didn't know what was going to happen next. Um, at least I knew when I walked into a place, I knew what it was supposed to look like when I was done. And I was able to wrap my whole world around that. And I became very self-educated on the subject. I can't even tell you how much I learned about short-term rentals in that first 6 months of doing that job. And I was the head housekeeper, and it was really hard to hit that 40 hours a week and physically difficult to do it. And one day, the girl that was doing the scheduling and the hosting just up and said, see ya, and did not give any notice or any kind of anything. And I really liked my job, and I was like, I didn't think my boss was capable of running a short-term rental business at all. And I was like, I could do this. I already have more education than he's ever looked at, I'm sure. Um, and he had started it with his wife, and she actually used to be a property manager for a huge building out in Boston or something like that. And it was her baby, and she passed away. So he was just like the guy that did the books. And when it came to the actual running of it, it just wasn't. And the scheduling, oh my God, it was just amazing. I was like, I'll take over where she left off. I got this. Add me to the app. I got this. And he he was scared because it takes him a while to trust somebody, and that's okay. He did finally do it. Didn't take too long because things were falling apart quick, and I eventually became the host. So I'm the person that all the people that rent the properties he manages that gets spoken to. I do all that. I also schedule all cleaners and make sure they're up to par and things like that. And I like it. I like my job a lot. Um, but there's a caveat. Um, I ended up finding an apartment finally, and I moved over here on the other side of the mountain for most of where the the short-term rentals that he manages are. I'm on a completely other side of the mountain. It's not far or anything crazy like that. And if I had multiple cars and was able to run the risk of one getting destroyed, um, I would be really, really probably all right with going over the mountain all the time. Um, but I also, people are crazy. There are people that will come up here to ski from New Jersey with summer tires on. It's crazy sauce. It's like dangerous. So I don't like to go over the mountain if I don't have to. And so I'm on the other side, and I love it over here. And so here I am, being a big girl, got my own rent to pay, and lots of things to work out in my brain. And I still have that drinking habit that I had. I've always had. I've always been a drinker. Um, and one day I just realized I started listening to Dave Ramsey for some reason while I was cleaning. I was like listening to Mr. Ballin all the time. And then I'm like, maybe what I realized was like, okay, this is interesting, but it's not like you got to have education if you're going to be if you're going to be filling your ears with something. For me, it has to be like education. And I came across, and of course, I'm the single daughter of a single mom. My dad was a piece of shit and wasn't involved and could get given a fuck. So I am attracted to father figures, right? It's just natural, and I'm not mad about that. He did the best he could. That guy, he did, which was really bad. But I mean, he destroyed. Oh, anyway, we're not going to get into it. But I respond well to a strong, grouchy man, and there you have Dave Ramsey, and he is unapologetic, and I love it. And so I'm listening to the Ramsey show, And it's a radio show that they film in a studio, goes out live on the radio, and then they podcast it and put it on YouTube. And I'm like, just listening and listening, like my brain is breaking. And I was doing pretty good up until September of last year. So, yeah, September. So we're coming up on a year, which is mind boggling. And because of the way I work, I 1099 most. There is no set hours at my job where I host and clean and run the girls or whatever. So I'm not going to punch in if I'm not working. But I got to work because I got bills to pay. So I subcontract over here. And I try to stay over the side of the mountain when the snow is flying. When it's not flying, I'll go over. I'm fine with that. As long as like the road is pretty bad this year, but whatever. Let's get to the point. So I'm like, well, I got to figure out where my money's going. And I got like the Every Dollar app. And there was no way to do a budget. I don't even know what I'm going to make. I have no clue what's going to happen. Every single week is different. There will be $200 weeks for real. So I said, what's the next best thing? And that is to get one of these cool books. I just pop myself in the face and write down every single thing that I need to pay at the top. I did it in September, so September looked very different. Everything I needed to pay at the top, all of my incoming, and all of my outgoing. So I wrote down every single time that I worked and how much money it was that I earned. And then I wrote down every single thing and I categorized everything that I wrote. So I'm 54 years old. I still smoke. Don't hate. Don't hate. Okay? I haven't found a better way to get nicotine, and nicotine's good for you. Just so you know. Um, for real. I We're not going to talk about smoking. I'm doing one thing at a time, all right? All right. So I wrote down cigarettes, and I had them combined, cigarettes and beer. And then I had the bills, and I wrote down when I spent the money on the bills and what I got for groceries, and kept track of that. And the end of September came, and I was like, oof, how am I going to pull this off? Oh my gosh. And I kept going. Next month showed up. October, here it was. Birthday month. What? Um, I literally in September made $9 more than what I absolutely needed between rent, cigarettes, beer, food, the bills, and work items that I would have to purchase. What's the other one? And gas. Of course, you gotta have gas, right? But here comes October. I sit down and I get a little bit more defined. I separate cigarettes and beer. I do groceries, the bills, alcohol, and on and on and on. And then I come to the end of October and it's time to pay the rent. And up until that point, and I had signed a lease, I think in February of that year. I think it was February or March. I was usually ahead about 15 days, sometimes right up to the day, but usually halfway through the month I was paying for the next month. And here comes November. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm preparing myself to reach out to my landlord to ask for some grace that I don't have it. And I sat down and crunched my year, my month. And I said, holy shit. Holy shit. I'm going to have a sip of my seltzer right now. I still wouldn't have had the rent, but I would have had more than half, or about half, if I didn't drink. If I just realized that I could not afford to drink. Oh, okay. So I started making deals with myself. I talked to God about it a lot. And I made a deal that I would not purchase. My favorites, White Claw, Grapefruit. Love them in the 19-ounce cans. Used to buy them by the flat back before I ran away. I definitely drank a lot less than I did then. That that was probably 7 flats a week, like 12 of those 19 ounces a day. Pretty close to it. Um, I was just like dumbfounded. I'm like, okay. So I would stop after I got done working and just be exhausted and just want to have a beer or a seltzer. And I would stop and get anywhere from 2 to 6 of them, sometimes 8 of them. I never bought a flat anymore when I moved here. I just didn't want to even entertain them that way. Um, because it was like so brutal how much I drank. It was fucked up. So I worked my tolerance into six, was pretty much the norm, at $3.19 plus tax deposit each. No deals, no. This is not New Hampshire where it's two for what was the deal? Like if I had to go by singles, 2 for 5, 3 for 10, or something like that, 3 for 9. There was some sort of deal that if I had to buy singles, it wasn't $3 each. So it was just crazy. So I said, okay, so Tara, no, you can't buy any seltzers no matter how much you want. And I had already been trying to not drink but like 3 days a week. 4 days off was really hard. It was really tough. Really tough. And it was unsuccessful most of the time. So I said, I cannot buy any seltzers to drink until I am a half a month ahead on rent. I need to have the next month's rent paid by the 15th of the month I'm in, or I cannot buy any seltzers. During that time, my daughter brought over a Prosecco during Thanksgiving and brought over Prosecco at Christmas. Didn't even, I was stoked to have a couple of Proseccos, but that was that. And that was pretty exciting. I think I told my daughter about it on Christmas. Like, it was either Christmas or Thanksgiving. Like, this is what I'm doing. She's like, no way, no way. I never thought ever. I always said, and you could probably go back to videos, that I'll always be a drinker. So, and I'm like, I'm still going to be a drinker, but these are the rules. I cannot afford to drink White Claws willy nilly when I can't afford to pay my rent. It's just bullshit. So that's how it started. And I kept going and kept going and kept going. Cat, do not bother the dog. Leave her alone. You can't see it. She's sleeping. You'll freak her out. She just woke up. She's like, I think someone's talking about me. So that was the deal. And I figured, oh, in no time at all, I won't have to worry about it. And I'll be able to get myself seltzers every day. I'm fine with that. Then 1 month came up. It was just before Lent. And it had been a minute. It had been quite a few days, like a long time, from October till Lent. And I was so close, dude. Here came the 15th of the month. I had 90% of the rent. I think I was $200 off. And I knew what I was scheduled, and I knew I would have it by the 18th. And I sent it at, like, at that point, I was just sending him money as fast as I got it and getting ahead as fast as I could. And, but I didn't have the full rent on the 15th. And I struggled. I said, uh-oh, you know you're going to have it paid in 2 days, so why not? 2, 3 days. Why not? You're close enough, Tara. And that's not me talking. That's Satan. You're close enough. Just go ahead. It's not going to hurt you. Go on down there and get yourself some seltzers. I got all the stores here fully stocked on my seltzers. They are stocked. So I know I'm not going to walk in and be like, oh, we thought you quit. Because I didn't say that to nobody. I wanted them to make sure they had it. I have had times where I've had to chase it down New England. So, for real, I'm like, you're so close, Tara. Who's going to know but you? It's only 3 days, 2 days. It's no big deal. It's not like you're way off the mark. I recognize that shit loud and clear. So that is Satan. That's crazy. Because I had not had much of a struggle at all. It was maybe 3 or 4 times I was like, ah! I'd go into the store and be like, I want that. And then that was it. You know, like I was over it. I did start eating sweets. I'd start buying little confectionaries. But that was at $2 a day, not fucking 34, 24, whatever the hell it was. 24, I think it was the average. Oh my gosh. And I realized how nasty that was. Don't worry, nobody's gonna know. Only you'll know. Pretty sure God will know. I'm pretty sure that he put that Dave Ramsey in front of me and got me curious about where my money was going so that I might see this way. And that maybe that would be the way. I mean, most people, biblically, staying away from heavy, like, I wish I probably wrote it down somewhere in my Bible reading book, but we're staying away from heavy drink and drunkenness because that is just for the poor. So they can forget the lot of life, what they're experiencing. So being drunk is for the poor. I'm like, what? And I recognize Satan talking. I'm like, oh no, no, no. Oh, you no. And now that I really thought I was like right there, I was so close. I was so ready to have a fucking drink. And knowing that I couldn't, and I'd have to wait until next month was paid by the 15th, kind of thing. So this is what happened. In 2 days, I paid up the next month's rent. And within, so that was the 18th. By the 22nd, I had the month later paid. I'm definitely in the clear. I'm over 30 days. I'm 38 days. Oh, faster. I am definitely in the clear for the 15th. I've beaten it by 20 days. And that's when I said, no, but no, I don't really like that. I don't, that's no. Because I knew that I was like so ready to have a fucking drink. And I realized at that point, I'm like, what is this Lent thing? Like, I read the Bible every morning. Like, what is this Lent? Oh, you give up something that you really, really, really like for Lent to honor God. And because I almost lied to myself and cheated myself by 3 days, I realized that I really want to drink. And maybe I should just go ahead and give it up for Lent. Holy moly! So there I went. And I kept track of every day since the beginning. As of today, 238 days. There was a little spot where I realized that things happened so that I knew that I wasn't going to be a drinker anymore. And I consulted with God about this. And this is not cheating. He said, if you were going to fucking do that shit and cheat with the 3 days, then we'd have a problem. But you're gonna go through this and you're still gonna keep counting. So I said, okay. And I also had some counsel besides that that said, no, you shouldn't start from zero. You should keep counting. So, okay. And I'm fine with that. There may be other sober people out there that do not like that. There may be a lot of them. I'm not a meeting person. I used to go to meetings when I was younger. I don't do meetings. I find that when I'm obsessed with a subject, I get compulsive and it becomes a problem, even more than the problem it already is. So, or it doesn't, it becomes wonderful, like counting how much money I spent and writing numbers on the calendar and being happy that God showed me a way to give up alcohol. And He really did. So here comes now, Lent's almost over. I'm starting to be like, oh my God, I don't even know how I'm going to do this. When am I going to drink? And what am I going to start Friday or am I going to wait till Sunday? Am I going to follow the Greek Orthodox or am I going to follow the Christian Orthodox or the Catholics or the regular people? I don't even know. What's the day? What Easter? Like which one? And so that weekend came and I thought it was going to be that Friday. That's what I had calculated in the beginning, but it wasn't. That wasn't truly the end of Lent. Um, so I said, okay, Easter. However, I've made a new rule for myself. And my new rule is you've got to be in a damn good mood. If you are pissed off at anything at all, if anything is biting you in the back of your brain, you are not drinking until that's gone. Because when I drank, if somebody ruins my mood while I'm drinking, it's over. After all that nonsense I went through, living with that fucking asshole for all those years, it's about 3 years or so. No, thank you. I'm over it. I will not tolerate any bullshit no more. None. And so I knew that had to be a rule. And I realized during the whole time over the winter that I could still get pissed off even if I'm not drinking, which was like, oh, so Tara's got real feelings. So I had a great weekend. Stella slept over, my granddaughter. Everything was wonderful. We had a little Easter thingy, me and her, and then it brought her home. And I was like walking on the moon. This is a good day. I'm like, I'm gonna get me some seltzers today. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And I went down to one of my country stores, and this time I decided to buy a flat because I thought this is so cute. What do you think? I thought I'd probably have four, maybe half that flat, maybe six, but I'd have two for a few days in a row left. I got to the third one, and I was like, what the fuck? I was able to recognize what was happening in my body in ways that I had not been able to recognize in my body over the past few years. Why? Because I did it every day and I just didn't recognize it. I felt my blood pressure go out the roof. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. I live on the second floor and I got to bring the dog out downstairs that are this big. How have I not died? Oh my goodness. And I'm like, I'm messaging my friend. I'm like, I don't know about this. This is crazy. And sure enough, I kept drinking, and I got to 6, and I was like, I think I probably should stop. And what I did, and that probably because I knew myself better than I thought. When I got the flat, I didn't bring the whole flat up the stairs. I left half of it at the bottom of the stairs. And Fancy started, I gotta go potty. So I brought her down, and I'm like, I'll just grab 2 more, bring them up when she's done. And I did. And I drank 8. Oh my gosh. I felt like I was gonna die. Sleep was awful. It was awful. The next day I didn't get a hangover, which I'm shocked. Like I'm shocked that God didn't make me have one. Um, but I was not impressed. Not at all. I went to work and I was like, okay. I just wasn't impressed. I could not believe that that's how I lived at all. Couldn't believe it. So I said, when I get home, I'm going to finish those last 4 and that's it. I think. So I did. The next day I came home and I finished the last 4 of that flat that I thought was going to last me at least a week. I wasn't impressed again. I woke up in the middle of the night all like my blood pressure going fucking unbelievable. And I'm like, this sucks. Okay. And that was Monday night, right? So Sunday I buy the flat after I drop Stella off. Monday night, I drank the rest of that flat with the 4 that were left. And that was a perfect amount for me, actually. That was like an excellent, I didn't feel out of control or anything like that. I was like, this is good. But it didn't stop how I felt throughout the night. So I said, I'm not, yeah, I don't think so. I, I, I don't see this working out. And I still have a bottle of wine that I got from people that leave stuff behind. I had a beautiful Heineken I couldn't wait to drink, and I'm so mad that I drank it when I did because I really wanted to drink it on its own. I had some stupid microbrew, which I hate, and I still have a Fireball around here somewhere. Still have the wine and the Fireball somewhere. It should be right over there. Um, Here comes Thursday, and I'm like, okay, so this is what you'll do now, Tara. So now I'm negotiating again with my alcoholic self. If you want to have a drink, you're going to go ahead and get one on your way home. And I'm a staunch don't drink and drive. I don't like it. I will drive down a dirt road with a White Claw, but once I'm home, there's no going back out. So I'm like, well, I guess I would. I wouldn't now because I don't drink anymore. So here comes Friday, and oh God, I wish you could see these guys. They're so beautiful. I got the dog and the cat. They're like perfect. So Friday comes, I go to work, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have some White Claws today. I'm gonna bring 2. I'm gonna buy 2 because I'm gonna want one when I get home. I drive like a 8-mile dirt road. I go way out of my way to get home so that I can drive down a dirt road. I love them. And I get up the stairs and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I don't really feel comfortable with this. I should have probably bought 4. And immediately I'm like, that's fucked up. It's really fucked up. And I'm like, don't worry about it. You've got one of them stupid fucking microbrews, and you got that excellent Heineken in the fridge. You'll be fine. That's 4 drinks. That's plenty. I saved the White Claw. I drank the microbrew and pretty much just destroyed the rest of my night. Then I have the Heineken, totally destroyed it. Heineken needs to be cold and all alone. It's not something you want after a microbrew where you have that nasty breath. It's disgusting. Oh, I was like, no. And then I had my White Claw, my last White Claw, and I went to bed and woke up again in the middle of the night with high blood pressure. I said, you know what? This could get out of hand real quick. Sunday, you bought a flat, which is 12 19-ounce White Claws. Monday, you finished the flat. All week, you've been talking back and forth about when you want one, get one. And then you turn it into two when you buy it. And then you drink two nasty beers. And then you still wake up in the middle of the night feeling like your heart's going to jump out of your head and your brain's going to fall out your ears. And you really didn't even get to enjoy any of it. You didn't even really get to sit down and enjoy a fucking White Claw. And did you ever really? When? When was that? So how about this, Tara? How about you're not a drinker anymore? How about that? You just don't do it. You just don't do it. What the fuck? How the fuck? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea how long it's going to last, but I'm going on 238 days. And every time I think I really want one, I'm like immediate, like the memories just immediately am reminded of why I don't. And it's all about prayer right now. I don't go to meetings, and there aren't very many in my area anyway. I probably would have attempted to. I probably would have attempted to before I decided I was not going to drink. When I was trying to slow down, that's probably when that would have been more beneficial to me. I'm not sure. I used to go to A and NA when I was like 18, 19 years old. Never again. Every time I hit 30 days of anything, I was out getting fucked up. So it didn't work for me. And that's also how I was young. That was my brain in those days. So who knows now? But I don't need to worry about it right at this moment. If I need a sponsor, I'll get one. Okay? For sure. So I pray a lot, talk to God a lot, and He keeps me in line. And when He decided to show me, He knew I meant it, that I really wanted to slow down. I don't think He was hating me for being a drinker at all, but I know that He didn't think it was the smart thing or the wisest thing. And He just made it all come together in such a way that really just it hit home. A year and a half before that, that wouldn't have stopped me from drinking. I would have kept drinking. I would have chose alcohol. Uh, yeah. The only time that I didn't drink for extended periods of time in my life is when I quit smoking and I became a vapor. I did not want to drink. I think I drank like 2 or 3 times in like it was a long time because I vaped for years. There's even a YouTube channel about it. I looked like shit, dude. I was so pasty. But yeah, and I didn't drink, and I didn't drink until I moved to Vermont. And Kimba and I know each other from way back when, and we drank. We were drinking buddies. So I'm just really happy that I don't. And you'll hear about it again and again, I'm sure. on this channel. But yep, alcohol's poison. And even just from a dietary point of, like, this whole thing has turned into so much more. Um, getting it on the sugar to keep me from buying this White Claw. It was bad, really bad, not good. I'm still recovering from that. It's brutal. I'm eating a ketovore. I'm pretty close to carnivore. I'm less than 5 net carbs a day to heal my body. There were things I thought were going to miraculously happen when I quit drinking. Like I wouldn't have any body pain. Nope, that's not true. That's not for me, especially with how much sugar I was eating. So it wasn't the end all of my suffering and growing. It was the beginning. And so if you're struggling with that, I want you to talk to God about it and ask him to give you a way. He will present it. It's up to you to be honest and accept it and move forward and play it as it goes. Do not have to make a freaking lifetime commitment right away. All you got to do is worry about today. And that comes straight from Bill himself. One day at a time. Okay? So that's what's up. And I'm excited about that. I was just thinking that 4th of July is coming. And like I can't drive at night anyway because I can't see. Like if it's raining out and people have their headlights on and they have those LED lights, I'm like blinded. I have a migraine. Like they are evil. So nighttime is out. But even if I could drive and that those didn't bother me, which I don't think there's a soul that it doesn't, I couldn't go anywhere. I would be drinking. By the time 4 o'clock showed up in the daytime, I already had 2 or 3 in me. If I got off work by 1, like what the hell? So there's no going nowhere. No. So yeah, that part is just done. It's just done. I can't even think of why I would. Who knows? I am not I'm not the guru. I'm not. There's a one really good sober channel on YouTube. I gotta find it and share it with you. And there's a couple actually, but he's like so straightforward, and I've watched a few of his videos. I'm like, yeah, 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 and that's how the approach works for me that way. Um, and you've got people that if they don't go to a meeting, they're gonna get drunk, and that's brutal. That's hard, but there's nothing wrong with it. Meetings are important. As a matter of fact, the most important thing about a meeting is God. The way RFK explains it is mind-boggling. And the story about Bill, ooh, I know we're going on 50 minutes. Fine, I'll do it really quick. Bill tried to quit drinking a lot. And he kept trying, he kept trying, he kept trying. And he was just having a hard time with it. And he would go periods of time. And then I think he was like a traveling salesman or something. I'm not sure, I could be wrong. He'd end up at that hotel lobby, and there'd be that hotel lobby bar, and hear the sounds and the sounds. I know the sounds. The sounds of the glasses tinking and laughing out loud and music playing and the smell of cigars or cigarettes. Like, I loved the bar scene, dude. So he's all pulled in. I think he was like trying to make a phone call. So I don't know. He ends up getting drunk again. And he prays. And the only way that he got sober is through prayer. And so he was inspired by God to create the 12 steps and help millions and millions of people get sober. And RFK explains it really nicely, saying that without God, you can't do it. The steps won't even work. Your emotions towards sobriety just won't even happen. It just doesn't work. And I don't know if that's true or not. I know it's true for me. I know it's true for RFK. I know it's true for Bill. And probably a lot of other sober people out there. They believe in some sort of higher power. Yeah. And if they're going to stay sober, the higher power is the only way to go. That's that. So that's my sober story. And I'm sure you'll hear a lot about it. There may be days where I come on here like, I want to drink. There may be a day where I come on here and I do. I don't know. I am not going to stretch out that far. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to let go and let God. See, I did learn a lot in meetings when I was younger because that's it. God is good. God is good. And He will guide the way. And He will, if you are willing, He will give you the best route, the easier route, if you just let Him. Otherwise, you're going to get it the hard way. If you really want to see change and you're begging, but you're not willing to see that easy route that He gives you, He's going to make you quit. And it's going to be brutal. This is something I have noticed. You ask Him for it to be easier, you ask Him for a way, and He keeps giving you one, and He keeps giving you one. And He did it with me for years. And then eventually, he'll give you what you wanted. Ain't no telling how He's going to deliver it, though. For me, a little bit of Dave Ramsey, a grouchy old man from Tennessee, talk about money and my interest in wanting to be independent and on my own. Freshly lost her mom and saw where she was. And she hadn't drank since she was 60. She was like 20 years sober. I'm not going down like that. She didn't die from any alcohol related things. She was actually, we'll get it. That'll be another story, okay? Because I will cry. I will cry. I will get really enraged, actually. That facility is shut down, let's put it that way. It's over. Until the next guy comes in. I don't know. But, yeah. Pray and keep your eyes open. Ask for the discernment and the wisdom. He will show you a way that will make it as easy for you as He can. And you may be one of those people that like everything the hard way. So He might make it a little hard. I don't know. I don't know how He's going to deal with you. But He will, and He can. And all you got to do is trust Him. He loves you more than, oh my God, He loves you so much. It's wild. So don't let that little Satan tell you, oh, you got 2 more days. Nobody will know. Don't listen to that shit. You go out there and you be the best you can be. Okay? I love you long time. And I'll see you. I'm going to be on here a lot. Probably talking your ears off. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Bye.